His and her movie reviews, Star Trek Beyond. Yeah. There was a lot of humor in this movie. That's the first thing on my list, so that's what I'm talking about. But there was like a lot, and it was spread throughout, and it was really nice.
I like that it was funny too. What I enjoyed about the humor was that it was the interactions between characters that was funny, and that's my favorite kind of humor. So I enjoyed that. It was pretty hilarious.
There was a lot of original series references. Actually, I think there was way more in Into Darkness.
Yes, there were.
But the ones that were in this one were fantastic. I'm not going to say what they are. And it totally felt like an episode, which a lot of people have been saying, but I completely agree. Like an original series episode.
Very ending was something that felt more like an original episode ending. And the banter between Spock and McCoy was a lot more original series. I thought that was pretty fun too. Spock and McCoy definitely had more of their original series relationship in this one than they have had in any of the other ones.
Yes. Yes, they did. It was fantastic. Watching them banter, but deep down they just love each other so much. They really do.
But it does make more sense that they would have it more in this one than in the other ones, because in this one they have been together for years now. They established in the opening scene that they've been out for 3 years. So it does make more sense that their relationship is more what we would see in the series than it has been before.
Which is awesome, because they've been out for 3 years and the original series only went for 3 years. So this movie's like a continuation of that, even though it's a totally different timeline. So it's like we're getting longer of that. The special effects were amazing. I thought they were really detailed and it didn't ever take me out of it. At the beginning of the movie, there was a lot of outside ship shots that felt very much like the Star Trek the Motion Picture. Like really long and really big, like very grand shots of the space station and also of the ship.
That are pure fan service and
Yeah,
have
me service.
have almost no point or relevance to the story whatsoever.
Me service.
Yes.
Point.
Yes. So we saw it in 3D.
IMAX 3D.
In IMAX 3D. So the sound is really good, actually. There was one part where Kirk is walking around the room talking and you hear his voice go around the room. So in our theater, I thought that was pretty cool. I usually don't notice things like that, so that's impressive. I like the spinning shots in space. I feel like it makes it feel more spacey, because in space
Things spin around.
a lot of movies still tend to keep everything on the same plane. In this one, they did spinning shots on the planet with the bad guy to make you feel unstable, and it did, but with the 3D it also kind of made me feel a little bit like ill. So I didn't like it in 3D, but I think in 2D it would have been just fine. It would have accomplished its goal instead of just making me be like, stop it.
They don't really do any like 3D gags. There was a couple, like all the space things were amazing in 3D. And honestly, if they had an IMAX without 3D, I would have just done that one. 3D was okay. It was more immersive. As far as the PG-13 rating goes, it was really super violent like all the other ones, but I don't think it was nearly as violent as Into Darkness. No. Also, it just had like a smattering of swearing in it. Just normal PG-13. Probably lighter for PG-13 because it's Star Trek. But overall, this movie was super fun. Like, I loved it. It was great. It felt like an episode. It also felt like playing with Star Trek toys, like flying ships around, which I used to do. Apparently, in every one of these videos, we're going to learn that I used to play with toys of all these kinds. So, the motorcycle. Who was excited when they saw a motorcycle in the trailer? Not this guy, because that looks stupid. I'm just going to say that the way that they did it and the reason it's there are okay. Still a little bit like, hey, this guy directed Fast and the Furious.
And I thought that the girl,
Jayla,
I
think.
I thought she looked like she came from an anime.
She did. And she was really cool. Her fighting was awesome.
Her fighting was awesome. It was good.
And she was kind of funny, a little bit.
The hand-to-hand fight scenes were really good.
It wasn't too shaky.
No, it wasn't shaky. You could actually see what they were doing, what was going on. There were a few things that you could tell that the actors had simply learned the moves for the part. And
Yeah.
So it wasn't the most elegantly executed, but I still liked some parts. Some parts I was like, yeah, you kick him.
Yeah, kick him a lot. Sulu is gay in this movie. You may have learned that on the internet. He wasn't gay in the original series. I don't think I agree with his character change, but the way they pulled it off, I think was fine. It wasn't in your face. It also wasn't subtle at all. It was just like, here you go, this is that. So I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, it was okay.
It just showed that he had a family. There was a lot of parts in this movie that had original series music cues, or cues that felt like the original series, like especially during some hand-to-hand fights. And I was really excited. I was waiting for Kirk to do a double fist punch. He totally didn't, because you break your pinkies if you do that. So he didn't do that. I was a little bummed out, but
I really want to see that in one of these movies
Yeah.
too. Not that it'd be funny for someone to break their pinkies, but I think that it would be funny to see Bones being like, why would you punch someone like that anyway?
Yeah. The costumes, I thought, were really awesome. There's actually a weirdly large amount of them for the length of the movie. It was almost like Padme from Star Wars with all of her costumes. But I loved their just normal pastel costumes, because they got rid of kind of the black cross pattern that goes over them, so they're just clean pastel, and I thought they looked really good. I thought the tribute to Leonard Nimoy was great. I'm not really going to say too much about it, because it wasn't very long, but I thought it was a very warm, nice tribute to Leonard Nimoy. There was a part where there's a slight reference back to his original timeline, which I thought was really cool. I think it was a cool continuity, and it was a really cool moment.
I thought this movie was well acted. I thought, and well directed, actually. It was well directed, and excepting for the motorcycle part, it did not feel like the Fast and the Furious movies. Oh, I thought that each of the characters got more time. So the first movie feels like a Kirk and Spock movie, and the second movie feels like a Kirk and Khan movie, but this one felt more like the Star Trek crew movie.
Yeah.
Obviously Kirk is still the main guy, but everyone else gets a lot more time and a lot more development, and it felt more balanced that way, in that they started to, in these new movies, they started to kind of come through as a unified crew that felt more like family.
I thought there was really good continued character development in this third movie. We're seeing the characters go in new places, and especially the three main people, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, you see their friendships develop and kind of become, I guess, what we're used to them being. The villain, I thought his motivations were actually, they were fine for a villain. Sometimes that's the worst part of a movie. I was a little worried about that, because he just looked like a scary alien.
Makeup in this movie was impressive too.
Yeah. I would definitely own this movie and watch it a lot. I'm a Star Trek completist, but also it was really fun, very well made, and super entertaining. I loved all the different space angles that it showed, a lot of different ones that they found for this movie.
There were a few times during the movie, during the action scenes, where I was watching the movie and then I thought to myself, wow, this action scene has been going on for a really long time now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the climax of the movie was fun, and it was very satisfying, but at the same time it was also kind of confusing. They set up the technobabble and told us what they were going to do and what the consequences should be, but then when they actually followed through on their plan, the consequences were way more than what they had set them up to be, to the point that it was actually rather confusing.
They leaned from making sense to making awesome, which brought a smile to my face.
Yes, so really they kind of threw logic and sense out the door so they could have this epic finale. But we actually had a discussion about it afterwards, and I don't yet know how they could make that make sense, the ending. If you have an idea, you can comment below and let us know. But right now, I don't know. If my husband were to put in this movie, I would sit down and I would watch it with him, and it would be enjoyable. We'd have fun pulling out more original series references.
Yeah.
Because you always notice more the second time around. I would watch it and I would enjoy it. Probably isn't one that I'd put in and watch by myself while I wasn't feeling good or while I had an evening alone or something.
Yep. So bonus points if you know what this picture is. And thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for watching.